Hello, my loves. I'm outside. I hope you're going outside to get some fresh air and sunlight today. I'm so excited. We're talking about the Hubble telescope. And, oh my goodness, it worked! Ah! I didn't think it was going to work. All right. Oh, one more. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Hubble telescope in space. Oh my goodness, I got, Mom, what are you doing? Um, did you see this? We're celebrating the Hubble telescope in space.
The Hubble telescope?
The Hubble telescope.
What?
The Hubble telescope in space that's taking like those amazing pictures of like space and stars and planets.
You mean the Hubble telescope?
What?
The Hubble telescope?
Uh-huh.
I think that's what you're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the Hubble telescope. Okay. Hello again, my loves. Uh, Hubble telescoper. We're going to be learning about the Hubble telescope today. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, here we are at Earth Space Science Week 8, exploring our solar system. And yeah, Hubble with an H. That was my mistake. I should have been reading more carefully. All right, reader mode so we can see nice and large. Looking through the Hubble telescope is like looking back in time. The Hubble Space Telescope is a telescope taken into space by the Space Shuttle back in 1990. Well, that's really interesting because a couple of you have written to me in Class Dojo in your portfolios that when you go back in time, you want to go back to 1990. Quite a few of you have said that actually. One said because your mom was born in 1990, you like the clothes. Let's see, that was Dominic. And Joseph liked the hip hop back then. There are some great movies back in those days. Look up Pogs, Pogs. They were amazing. I was the Pog queen of middle school, and I still have my Pogs. Absolutely. And so in 1990, that's when the Hubble Space Telescope was taken into space. So that's another great thing about 1990. And for more than 20 years, it has been taking pictures of distant stars and galaxies. Because the light from distant objects travels so far and for so long, to get to the Hubble, the telescope is actually seeing what those objects looked like hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years ago. There's a lot of commas in that. Let me go back to that beginning of the sentence. It's here. Nope, not you. Here we go. Because the light from distant objects travels so far and for so long to get to the Hubble, the telescope is actually seeing what those objects look like hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years ago. I'm glad I read it a second time. It makes more sense. The Hubble has sent back amazing pictures of galaxies. Behind me, this is a photo from the Hubble telescope. And it's got pictures of galaxies that are just being born. Oh, they're babies. With the Hubble's help, we have a better idea of how the Milky Way came to be. Recently, the Hubble needed some repairs. Astronauts changed out the old camera for a new one that could take pictures of things so far away they can only be viewed in special areas of the light spectrum, like ultraviolet and infrared. The Hubble Space Telescope is getting old and will be replaced soon. But in the meantime, it's the closest thing to time travel we have. Visit hubblesite.org to see some of the amazing pictures the Hubble has given us. Look closely at them. You're looking millions of years. Cool. All right, so let's look at these comprehension questions. When was the Hubble Space Telescope taken into space? I know the answer because we discussed it and we said 1990 so many times, right? But I need you to prove that you found the answer. So go back into your reading and we'll highlight it. I'm going to highlight mine with green today. I can see your highlights. So when I sign on to Studies Weekly, I can tell that you've answered the questions. I could tell that you've done the reading, the crossword puzzle, and the game. I can see how many highlights you have, and it tells me how many. So if you highlight the entire article, it's going to count it as one, and that doesn't count as really highlighting anything. You only highlight the important things. So there are 3 questions, so you might want to highlight just those 3 answers in one color. If you want to highlight other things, just information you found interesting or a reminder that you want to research it later or check it out, use a different color. So that could be very helpful. Or because there's 3 colors of questions, you can do 3 different colors to show the answers. So we have proven that it's 1990. Now, what does it do in space? I know the answer. Do you know the answer? I'm going to find it though, even though we know it. It has been doing what? Taking pictures. I'm going to do a different color for that one. It's taking pictures of distant stars and galaxies. There it is, takes pictures. Now, what type of light does the Hubble telescope use? They didn't tell me what type of light it used. I remember reading something about light, but let me look at my options first. That way I can remember what I'm searching for in the story. Does the Hubble use ultraviolet, ultraviolet and infrared, infrared or X-ray? All right, let's go back. Paragraph 1. Nope. Paragraph 2, recently needed repairs. We changed out the old camera for the new one that could take pictures of things so far away they can only be viewed in special areas of the light spectrum like ultraviolet and infrared. Now, it doesn't say that Hubble uses these lights, but if the Hubble's taking a picture of it and they can only be seen with these kinds of lights, then that tells me this is the information I'm looking for. Ultraviolet and infrared. Correct. Awesome. Let's look at those bonus sources. Come on, bonus sources. There we go. Here's the Hubble telescope intro.
The Hubble Space Telescope is a telescope taken into space by the Space Shuttle Discovery back in 1990. Radio telescopes, like the Hubble, are large dishes that detect radio waves from space. With radio telescopes, scientists can better understand what stars and other objects in space are made of and how they were formed. Looking through the Hubble telescope is like looking back in time. The Hubble takes pictures of distant stars and galaxies. Because the light from distant objects travels so far and for so long to get to the Hubble, the telescope is actually seeing what those objects looked like hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years ago.
So beautiful.
The Hubble has sent back amazing pictures of galaxies that are just being born. With the Hubble's help, we have learned a great deal about our universe, how our galaxy, the Milky Way, came to be, and how our universe is continually expanding.
Those pictures are unbelievably gorgeous. All right, let's look at these questions. How did the Hubble telescope get into space? Launched from a shuttle pad, placed there by astronauts who flew there and released it, taken into space by Discovery, or placed on the moon? And I gotta tell you the truth, I was like so dazzled by the pictures that I was not paying that much attention to the words. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know 100% what the answer is. I'm gonna have to watch the video again. But before I watch that video again, I'm gonna look at the other two questions because I know number one is an easy question. And if I don't know that answer, I probably won't know 2 or 3. So I'm gonna read all the questions first and then I'll rewatch the video to get my answers. Let's see number 2. Why do they say looking through the Hubble is like looking back in time? Pardon me. The Hubble telescope is very old, so the pictures that it has are also old. The light from the stars is actually gas, and the gas needs to be processed by the telescope before the information can be confirmed. The Hubble telescope takes many years to send information and pictures back to Earth. Or the light from the stars is hundreds, thousands, or millions of years old because it had to travel very far to get to the Hubble. Now, I remember this from the article that we read. When they said it's like going back in time, it's because that light has to travel very, very, very far. So I'm glad that was written in the article. I tend to learn more from things that I read, that are written down, and less from what I hear. Other learners are different. I know a student who all he has to do is hear something and he remembers everything. I mean, if you play a song, he memorizes it and he can go and play it on his piano like instantly. He has that wonderful memory, but only with things that he hears. When he's reading something, he has to process it and repeat it and reread it over and over again because he is an auditory learner. He learns with his ears way better than any other way. All right, so what could be a way for us to learn even more about the universe? We could program the Hubble to take several pictures in one spot. We could send astronauts to space to look through the Hubble telescope and report back what they see. We could send another telescope just like the Hubble into space to take pictures from other locations. Or we could land the Hubble telescope on a planet and only take pictures from that one location. What do you think? What could be a way for us to learn even more about our universe? Well, the first one, if we program Hubble to take several pictures in one spot, we can still learn some stuff because, to be honest, we are moving in space. You know, we're, yep, orbiting, that's the word. We're orbiting around the center of the Milky Way. So if it kept in one spot, it's going to see eventually that things move, you know, like the sun moves, even if you're standing in one spot. We could learn about that way. Sending astronauts to look through the telescope and report back, well, that wouldn't work because it's not like a regular telescope. Instead of having to look through it, it's taking pictures for us. So that one wouldn't work. We could send another telescope to take pictures from other locations. That would work. And we could land the telescope on a planet and only take pictures from that one location. I mean, that could work too. So we've got 3 good answers, but which is the best answer that will give us the most information? I think it might be this one. Maybe having 2 Hubbles? Correct. Okay, so this one, I don't know the answer. It says, how is the telescope put in space? I'm going to watch that video just for a few seconds till I get my answer.
The Hubble Space Telescope is a telescope taken into space by the Space Shuttle Discovery back in 1990.
That was the answer. Discovery. Perfect. Okay, so we have a diagram. This is actually telling you all the parts of the telescope. There's light shields, communications antenna. I know a couple of you are going to be really interested about in this. So take a look at it. I'm not really interested. Well, it's not my thing. But I'm not really very technical about that. I'm not the type of person who's going to build robotics. That's a lot of you out there love to do that kind of stuff. All right, Hubble redeployment. To deploy something means to make it active. To redeploy it means to make it active again. So let's see about that. This photograph was taken in 1997 while the Hubble Space Telescope was being serviced as it orbited above the Earth. Attached to the robot arm, the Hubble Space Telescope was taken out of its berth and lifted up into the sunlight. So as it got close enough to us, we kind of grabbed a hold of it and repaired it and then let it go again. So what is this object? We know it's the Hubble Space Telescope. That's what we're reading about today. What's happening in this photo is being launched, it's being destroyed, it's being serviced, or it's being brought back to Earth. Let me look back. It is being serviced. Yes, it's being serviced. Click. There we go. Ooh, I'm almost at 400. Based on the photo, choose from the following objects of how the space telescope is maintained while it's in space. By robots, by astronauts, by remote controls, or all of the above. Based on the photo, choose from the following options. Let's go back to the photo. It says attached to the robot arm. So you see a robot arm is working on it. What were my other options? By remote controls, by astronauts, or by robots? Well, if it's a robot arm, I think maybe a person would be controlling it, maybe on space or from a spacecraft. I'm going to guess all of the above. This is a challenging question. Ooh, guessed it right. Perfect. Okay. So let me close out and go back to my articles, because the website that they suggested we go to, we're going to swing over by for a few minutes. Check out what's there. Loading, loading, loading page, loading, loading. We'll be patient. Or we'll go back. No, don't do this. Let's see who gets there faster. I'll type in the address. Yep. Uh-oh. Don't freeze on me. Come on. Does it have the page? NASA, NASA, NASA. Hubble site. There it is. We beat you. We'll close you out. We don't need you anymore. Okay. HubbleSite.org. The Hubble Space Telescope, 30 years of discovery. Celebrate with us. Hubble marks 30 years in space with the tapestry of blazing star birth. Look at this. There's news, images, videos. Oh my goodness, this gives me life. Look at how amazing. This is called a cosmic reef. Cosmic reef paint. Look at this. Guys, see this and this? It's the kind of art that I do. I do this with paint. I gotta tell you though, my artwork with paint, Can't even compare to the amazingness. I mean, this is in space. Look how bright those stars are. It's just, it's so gorgeous. Pan across NGC 2014 and NGC 2020. So it's panning over the course of 6 years. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, look, that one star cluster looks like Mickey Mouse. Did you see it? Is the Mickey star. Look, do you see it? The Mickey star? Tell Miss Blair. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, like the orange and the brown together. Oh, it is so beautiful. And the bright white and blue of the stars. Whoa. It looks like a fish. You see that? I think it looks like a fish. Amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Go to this site, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the site, Hubble site with an H. Hubble site, not bubble. Hubble site. And make sure that you're doing all of your assignments. Remember, you have to read the articles, answer the questions, crossword puzzle, and the misspelled game. Okay, those are your 3 grades for this week, just like they are for every week. And then do some exploring. Go to hubblesite.org. And you know what? I'll put the link on my AGA webpage for you. That way you can just get right there. Okay, I'll see you next time. Love you guys. Bye.